Hey, hey, thank you so much for joining another episode of Celeste the Therapist podcast. My name is Celeste. I'm a therapist from Boston. If you have never been here before, I just want to say thank you for giving me a try. What I do on this podcast is I talk about things that we struggle with, and then I help you think about ways that we can work through them. I have been doing a five-part series on healing your inner child. This is episode five out of the five episodes. So if you are joining me in the middle of the series, I highly suggest that you go back to the beginning of the series where we started with what the inner child was, because today we're talking about integrating your inner child, what that looks like. I'm going to help walk you through the steps. And this is a topic that I'm extremely excited about because I feel like, in my opinion, this is the foundation to us really understanding ourselves, having a better understanding of life, moving through life differently. If we can like really work on understanding our inner child, life just starts to look different. So I'm really excited about this series. So let's dive right into the topic. So we're talking about moving forward and integrating your inner child. Let me just fix this so that here we go. Okay. So, I am Celeste the Therapist. Quick recap, right? What did we talk about over the last, so these episodes drop every other week. So I guess it's been about 2 months, right? We started off with exploring your inner child. Then the next episode, we moved into exploring childhood experiences and how they shape your lives as an adult. Then we went into nurturing your inner child. That's so important. And then last session, we talked about healing techniques and strategies. And remember, there's been homework assignments. So I really hope that you've been able to take this content and apply it to your life. Look at what it's doing to you. Like, what is it saying? What is this content? Because it's going to speak differently for everyone. Everybody's experiences look different. So I really hope that you're taking time. This content's not going nowhere. I'm not going to delete it. So I really hope you're taking time to process the things that we're talking about because we talk about really heavy stuff on here. So I'm talking about integration. What does that mean? Does that mean putting the inner a little child inside of you? No, integration, metaphorically speaking, but to integrate the inner child means to emotionally heal the past by acknowledging and nurturing the unmet needs, emotions, and beliefs from your childhood to foster adult self-compassion and well-being, right? My platform, my brand is called Shifting the Way You Think because we get stuck, right? I've been stuck, right? I am extremely passionate about talking about this stuff because I lived a long time feeling like life just was hard, and life is hard. Life gets challenging, but I could never smell the roses. Creating joy was not something that I was able to do. And the reason why is because of the unmet needs that I had as a child, t ended up taking over my life. That was the lens in which I seen life under, right? But until I was able to recognize those needs were not met, and I was able to recognize that, like, you know what, that's in the past. Like, I'm able to consciously tell my mind, like, I am okay. Life started looking different for me. And so when I recognized, like, oh, there's another way to operate in life, it just made me even more passionate about sharing this content with the world, right? Which is why I created this podcast. So the importance of integrating. So the process of understanding yourself will promote personal growth by enabling you to set achievable goals, adapt to challenges, and live a more fulfilling life aligned with your core values. If you're not familiar with core values, I want you to get familiar with them. Think about what they are for you, because sometimes we don't have established boundaries. We don't know what our values was because we never thought about them. So, if you are watching me on YouTube, this does stream on YouTube. There's an examples from hashtag Hey Goal Sister. She put up some examples on core values. So your integrity, leadership, growth, your honesty, accountability, family, fun, happiness, faith, creativity, loyalty, bravery, empathy, patience, like the things that make you who you are, right? And it's okay if you don't know what that looks like, but I do want you to think about how can I establish and really recognize what's important to me. For me, treating people kindly is like an important value of mine. If I'm around somebody who does not treat people kindly, um, likelihood, like I don't want to be around that person. I'm mindful on who I spend time with because I recognize how energy can transfer, right? So paying attention to what your values are and are important because sometimes you may be in circles and spaces that doesn't align with your values, right? You may be on a board that doesn't align with your values. You may be working at a place that doesn't align with your values. And yes, where you're working at now, you need the money to survive. But let's use the work as an example, such as brought it up. If you're working at a place that doesn't align with your values, you can recognize they don't align with my values, and I can work on creating another stream of income or changing jobs, whatever that looks like, to get to that place. Right? Let's say you're living in a rooming house and maybe things are happening there that doesn't align with your values and you can't move right away. I get it, that's okay, right? But you can work on creating a plan for moving out of that space. It's not going to happen tomorrow, it's not going to happen next week, but it will never happen if you don't sit down and create a plan, right? So being mindful of what your values are, and in order to do that, right, understanding your inner child, understanding the things that have been great for you growing up, that have been hard for you, right? Because if you've listened to the other episodes, your inner child wasn't just all bad for some people, right? Some people had some really good moments. So I don't want to make inner child as something that like all of the past trauma, right? So, but if you can understand yourself and integrate the pain and what has happened, you can have a better understanding of who you are as a person. Is this Celeste who likes doing this, or am I doing this because I needed to survive, but this is not really what I want to do, right? I need to understand myself better, but I'll never understand myself better if I keep running from my past. So emotional well-being, right? Integrating your inner child can help with emotional well-being. So it'll give you a sense of understanding the self-awareness, being more mindful. I'm a very self-aware person. Improved emotional regulation. So a lot of times things will happen, and if you're not mindful, you could be triggered by something in your past. And if you're not mindful, your mind will go into this heightened state of like fight or flight, and you'll find yourself responding to something based off of a feeling that's the feeling is coming up because of the past. So the situation may not fit what's happening in front of you. I'll give you an example because I just heard it somewhere. I was listening to something. I can't even remember, but it was talking about, let's say like you've been struggling and you're not dealing with the things and you feel like you're about to explode. You go to McDonald's and you ask for pickles on your sandwich. You start biting into the sandwich and there's no pickle. And you freak out on the person that made your sandwich. Honest, it could have been an honest mistake, and your emotions start to flare up. You start cussing and swearing over a pickle. And it's like if you were at baseline, if you were grounded, would you have blown up the way you did over a pickle? Or would you have said, "Oh, excuse me, you forgot the pickles," right? And that is an example. And I'm sure we've seen stuff go viral where somebody's upset with something at a, let's just use a fast food restaurant, and they're yelling at the employee. And every time I see that, the first thing I say, it's not about the French fry, it's not about the sandwich. There's something deeper happening. I always say that to myself when I see those viral videos where the situation does not fit the emotion that is being exhibited by the person. So when you can work on understanding yourself better, understanding the things that trigger you, the things to understand your bandwidth, your emotional regulation will look a lot different. Increase resilience to deal when things don't go right, when things don't happen the way you expected them to happen. Being able to work on integrating will allow you to have a better resilience with those things. Stronger relationships. This is important. A lot of people are struggling with their relationships, not just intimate relationships with a partner. It could be your coworker, your friend, your family member, right? If you have a lot of relationships that go disarray or you feel like you're always hurt, start looking in the mirror and asking yourself, what role am I playing in this situation, in this relationship? Because a lot of times when you have struggled, when you have been a victim before, a lot of ways that your mind is seeing things is as a victim mentality. I work with people for a living, and I hear how they will create assumptions about a friend or a family member that may not have called them, or, this person didn't check on me. And they'll create this narrative, right? And let's just use, for example, I'm just um, naming this off the top of my head. There's been so many different things. Let's say the person that they're talking about who hasn't reached out to them has a baby, or they got diagnosed with cancer, or their parent got diagnosed with cancer, right? And so I know this because we've been talking. So now they're complaining to me about this friend that's not reaching out. And then I'll say something like, well, I thought you said that that person just had a baby, or I thought you said that their parent had cancer. And they'll be like, yeah, but I said, yeah, but what? Like when we have such a traumatic like space in our spirit around our inner child, our mind, and if we're not refocusing, if we're not mindful, our mind will make everything feel like we're a victim. So regardless of this cancer diagnosis, regardless of somebody being pregnant, regardless of a new baby and a friend having to make adjustments, regardless of that, your mind will help you see yourself the way that your mind is currently focused on. And so if your only focus has been a victim, right? Because you've never really processed it, you never really worked on integrating, your relationships will all look hard, right? You'll find yourself struggling in and out of relationships, in and out of jobs, like always chaos. And that's a hard way to operate in life. So, with you being able to work through this stuff, you'll find that you'll have stronger relationships with people. And then with emotional well-being, it can help reduce suffering. And I wrote this down because I'm a very visual learner and I just wanted to read it to you. Integration can lead to a decrease in overall suffering by helping you develop more adaptive coping mechanisms and reducing your maladaptive behaviors. The scrolling, the avoiding things, the procrastination, those are like maladaptive behaviors, the substance use that you might find yourself increasing. If you can work on integration, you can reduce your overall suffering that you're experiencing and learn how to cope in a different way, right? So this is some of the ways that integrating can help you with your emotional well-being. And then with your personal growth, right? We all want to grow personally. Goal setting and motivation, you'll find yourself feeling more confident and able to do that. Your alignment with your values, what you say you want out of life, you'll start to be walking in alignment with it because guess what? When you start to recognize the moments that you're triggered, not exploding over a pickle, right? When these things start happening, you can get more clear and walk in alignment in the way that you say you want to walk. You have a better growth mindset and better decision making and holistic health, right? You'll find yourself taking care of your mind, body, and spirit. Like it'll all look different. And I am somebody that is just a living testimony of that. I say all the time, I did not plan out this life in the way that it's going. But because I started working through some of my stuff, it's allowed me to see the direction in a different light. I never seen this direction, right? I didn't think I would make it to 25, right? I'm going to be 43. So being able to work through this stuff one moment, one day, one situation at a time will allow you to look at life in a different way. So some examples of integrating, you're going to be able to make choices that honor your needs, right? So saying no is a complete sentence. A lot of times, we've been taught to honor everyone else's needs, make sure everyone else is okay. And so honoring our needs feels like we're doing something wrong, right? A lot of times when I talk to people and we role play over how we're going to say it and their stomach turns, it's like, you could be a whole adult and still that inner child, like, why is my stomach turning? This is my house, right? Like, why is my stomach turning? There's nothing, I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, logically, you know that, but emotionally, that inner child stuff comes up. And you being able to have some autonomy over what you want to say and do has never happened, and you find yourself struggling. And just a side note for parents, right, as I'm talking about autonomy, I do want you to be mindful of, as you're working on your stuff, pay attention to how you are working on things like with your children, right? Because a lot of us, especially in the Black community, have been taught like to be seen and not heard. And so your struggle with honoring your emotions started from your emotions not being honored growing up, right? A lot of times, and this is not about, let me blame my parent or this is your fault, regardless of, you could have amazing parents, right? It does not mean you don't have to be physically or sexually or emotionally abused to have been struggling as a child, right? Some people's, the way they respond to things, every child's temperament is different, it looks different. And so some ways that your family may have operated just didn't work for your temperament, did not work for your personality, right? And so it's so important to understand this, right? And understand that your needs matter. A lot of people don't recognize that. So choices that honor your needs. You're going to be able to set boundaries, right, as you're integrating, prioritizing joy, right? Like I said earlier, that's not something that I thought about intentionally. Now it's like all I think about is like, how do I bring joy into my life? Expressing yourself through creativity, play, and hobbies, and acts of self-expression, right? What makes you you, right? Some of us are walking around like robots. We're just going through the motions. You may be making money, you may have a roof over your head and clothes over your back, but there's something inside that doesn't feel right. And a lot of times, if you can work on getting to the root of things, you'll start to see it look a little different. So, ongoing healing and self discovery, I just want to be clear that healing is a continuous journey, not a destination. So, your experiences will always going to be a part of you. The things you've gone through, we can never go back and change it. Never, ever. Right? Like, it's not like the Men in Black for people that may not have seen this movie. There was a movie, Will Smith, where they would put a pen and some kind of light and it can erase like your history. Like we can't never erase our history. Our history is a part of who we are. And so things are going to come up. And so you're always going to be healing. You're always going to be checking in with yourself. Self-awareness and self-reflection are so important for personal growth because it's going to allow you to understand your emotions, your strengths, your weaknesses. It's going to allow you to make better decisions, have better relationships with people, and increase your resilience, right? So that's why self-awareness and self-reflection is so important. Taking time to sit with yourself is important. If you are not doing that, I want to challenge you to start doing that. And one way you can start doing that, using your shower or bath time as a way, this is going to be my time to reflect. What am I feeling right now in this moment? What does my day look like if you're showering during the day? If it's at night, what did my day look like? What is it that I need? What didn't go well today? These are questions that you can ask yourself while you're already engaging in an activity, right? The best way to try to add something to your routine, if you're somebody that feel like you don't have time, I hear you, I understand. But I do want you to be mindful if you're finding yourself saying, I gotta find time, I need you to like cut that language and like tell yourself, you know what? I need to start creating time because there's only 24 hours in a day and we'll never get more than 24 hours. And so you telling yourself, I got to find time, you guess what? Your mind's like, all right, where are we going to find time at? But if I'm telling my mind I need to create time, my mind's like, okay, how are we going to create it? And I want you to think about if you are not able to sit with yourself, if sitting with yourself feels hard, how will you ever know yourself if you don't do that? And I'm not asking you to do it for long periods of a time. I'm just asking you start in the shower. Take those moments in the morning as you're getting up. Make up your bed. As you're washing your hands, try to be intentional about it. Feel the soap on your hands, right? You're always washing your hands. Take that moment to as you're washing your hands, ooh, what am I feeling in this time? And as you're rubbing your hands together, it's allowing you to get grounded in the moment, right? So those are some tips to help you kind of get more in tune with yourself. Now let's talk about techniques for maintaining a connection with your inner child because that's important, right? I always like want you to think about how do I stay connected. So mindful and creative techniques. So inner child dialogue. So setting time aside, asking your inner child questions about hopes, fears, dreams, and write down your responses. Writing is such a great tool to help you get what's inside out. Journaling letters to your inner child. You can, like, if you have an older picture of yourself when you were younger, you can put that picture right in front of you and just write to your inner child. It'll help give you a sense of self-compassion. Like, what would you have wanted what did your inner child need to hear when you were younger, right? Those are something that's important. Mindfulness, meditation, so practicing breathing exercises, body scans, focusing on specific parts of your body parts and bringing kindness to it. When you start focusing on the different body parts, you're going to start to notice in some areas get more activated and than others when you're struggling. For me, it's my back or my stomach. When I'm anxious, my stomach's turning like real bad. And I'm able to like what one technique I do, I take my hand, as you can see, if you're watching me, I put it over my like heart and my hand over my stomach, and I just take a deep breath. Like I'm like, okay, it's okay. And I literally would be like, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. Like I tell myself that even when I'm struggling, there's something powerful about saying like it's gonna be okay. Creative expression, so engaging in artistic activities like drawing, painting, singing, dancing. There's so many creative people that aren't able to be creative because I don't feel like our culture allows it to happen. But you can do that on your own. You can get, especially if you enjoy drawing, if you enjoy dancing, if you enjoy singing, get up and start dancing right now. Like sing, don't allow for what you've gone through or think it's too silly or think you're too old to learn how to get ready to play and get creative, right? Don't allow that narrative to stop you from pushing forward in that way. Some playful activities, revisiting your childhood joy. So, a favorite childhood movie. Some people say, like, there's certain shows they listen to at night. It helps calm their spirit. It brings up this nostalgic feeling. Embracing play. So, like I said, dancing, amusement park, Play-Doh, and exploring nature, walks, hikes, simply just being in nature can help. That's one of the ways that I connect as being in nature is really like as soon as I get by water, I just breathe deeply. As soon as I get in the trees and in nature, it just feels calming. Like I leave there feeling complete. And then the last thing, nurturing and reparenting practices, listening to your body. Pay attention to when your body's giving you signs you're not okay. Our body gives us signs, believe it or not, but guess what? We've been taught to ignore it. So I need you to think about how can I begin to pay attention to what's happening in my body. Body scan, which I said on the last slide. You can go on YouTube and type in like 5-minute body scan, and someone will speak. They have different people that do meditations for free on YouTube, and they will take you from head to toe. I say 5 minutes to start because if you're not doing it already, it might be hard to do it for longer. So 5 minutes is a great like starting point to try to get in tune and allow the body scan to happen. You'll realize like, oh my gosh, I'm tightening my mouth. I didn't realize I was doing that. Practicing self-compassion. So treat yourself with the same kindness that you would treat a child. We are so mean to ourselves. Like the average person, the thoughts and the things that are going through your mind, you're walking around with the bully. And if you've been in this podcast for a while, I talk to you all about this all the time. You're walking around with the bully 24/7. That is just not okay. You got to make sure that when you do that, you are framing that language like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so hard. This may be hard, but I'm gonna be okay, right? And something else, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. No, I made a mistake, and what I've learned from that mistake is X, Y, and Z. So next time I'm gonna do it differently. Changing that language in that way helps your mind see, like, oh, we're gonna start doing things differently. Right? I tell you all the time, when you start walking in alignment with the direction you're going, your mind and body has no other choice but to fall in line with that. I've been like really listening to a lot of YouTube videos on the science of the mind, and literally everything that I talk about, there's science to back it up. I know this from personal experience and just from working with people. And then when I get to hear the science behind it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense, right? You're able to build new pathways for your mind, but you can't build new pathways if you don't give your mind new information. Setting healthy boundaries is important. Learning to say no without guilt. If you feel guilty, that's okay. Like it's going to come at the beginning. I promise you it will. But do not allow yourself to say yes because of the guilt. Do not make decisions off of the guilt. You're going to feel guilty when you have to say no, but over time, you're going to recognize like keeping the peace outside because I don't want nobody to be upset with me is creating more turmoil for you inside, right? You're the one that has to sit with the consequences of the yeses that you're always saying to yourself. Your children, your partner, your work ethic, your goals are sitting with that. And then the last thing, seeking professional guidance. So if you struggle to connect with or heal your inner child, like a therapist, coach, support groups, books are great. Like trying to think about how to continue to stay connected, kind of like this podcast, right? It really helps to get information. And there's a ton of books. There's two books that I've read and I'm going to share with you. But journal, I'm going to give you some journal. Let's just take a deep breath before I give you the journaling props. Um, that was good. That was a lot. That was a lot. And I want you to always know like you can come back to this content. Go back to your notes if you've been taking notes, right? It's so important to think about how you can work on getting more in tune with yourself, being more consciously aware is so important. I want to give you some journaling prompts. This is our last episode of the series, but again, it's not the last time you're going to revisit this or if it's another book, right? What's your next step? How are you going to dive deeper into this content? So, what does integrating your inner child look like for you? How can you honor your inner child's needs in your daily life? And what support systems do you have in place for your healing journey? These are two books that I read. If you can see on the screen, if you're on YouTube, I got them right here. So Healing Your Inner Child is by a Buddhist author, Thich Nhat Hanh. I really love this book. It's all marked up. If you can see inside, it's highlighted and everything. And then this is a really great one, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. This is How to Heal from Distant, Rejected, and Self-Involved Parents. Let's face it, our parents did what they had in front of them to do. There was a lot of people's emotional needs were not met, and your parents didn't have the like wherewithal to do it for themselves, so the damn sure wasn't doing it for you. So this book is I like the book. I like it's by a therapist. She gives like these different stories. I think it's great because you start to realize, oh shoot, I'm not alone. There's something powerful about realizing you're not alone. That's why healing by yourself is hard to do because your mind can play tricks on you. The mind is such a powerful place, such a powerful place. So, as always, I want to leave you with some helplines. I really hope this series was helpful. If it was helpful, let me know on social media, shoot me an email, go in my DM, be like, yo, Celeste, that was so dope. I really enjoyed doing this series. If there's another series that you would want me to get into, let me know because I really enjoy teaching this stuff. I do. I'm passionate about it. And to be able to break it down in layman's terms is important to me because that's how I learn. But I want to give you a couple of resources. These are nationwide numbers because I know people listen to me from everywhere. 988 is a lifeline. You can call, text, or chat. And then you can text home 741-741. And you can connect with a crisis counselor 24/7. You can do it on WhatsApp or text message. If you want to find me, so I do have wellness classes that are happening and still in Mass. I also have therapists on staff. If you are looking for a therapist, if you're looking to work on somatic work. There's also a Wednesday class. One of the wellness providers does a free meditation class online every single Wednesday. If you go to my website, stwyt.com, that's stwyt.com, you can find that. You can find me on social media by searching Celeste the Therapist, and you can find my my business social media, stwyt.com. So thank you so much for rocking out with me. I hope this was helpful. I hope it makes sense. Until next time, beautiful people, I will talk to you later.